So you guys bought the MetaQuest 3? So one of the reasons why obviously you would buy the MetaQuest 3 is because you want to play games. There are two versions of the MetaQuest 3. It's the 128 gigabyte and the 512 gigabyte. So if you're like me and you didn't want to spend a lot of money, you bought a cheaper version, which is 128 gigabyte version, which will cost you $500. A little expensive. The 512 gigabyte version obviously has more space. And so if you're going to be wondering about how can I optimize my MetaQuest 3 headset, you want to be able to take advantage of the fact that you could actually stream the games to your MetaQuest 3 headset wirelessly or wired. So you could actually take advantage of the PCVR aspect of the Quest. So in order to do that, you need to have a really robust, nice Wi-Fi system. And the Wi-Fi system you're going to need, I've read in many places online, people say you need to have at least a 5 gigahertz router, which is true to a certain point, but that's what this video is about. I want to show on 5 gigahertz frequency routers and 6 gigahertz frequency routers, and I wanted to see exactly what type of performance can I get going from the 5 gigahertz router to the 6 gigahertz router. Does it really make a difference, especially if you have a lot of games, PC games you want to stream to your MetaQuest, which makes sense. That'll also help you save space. You can download a software called Virtual Desktop, which is a pretty good application to run to stream your PC content to the headset. Let's take a look. So this is the router that I would recommend. I ordered the TP-Link Archer AXE95, which is going currently right now for $194, which is not a bad price considering the fact that the one most people recommend is the one that's directly below this version, this model. You want a 6E, and this is the one that's usually recommended, the TP-Link Archer AXE5400, which goes for $189.99. This would work, but if you could just spend a little extra money, I recommend getting this one. This is so much better. This gives you a 2.5 gigabit one, gives you better coverage, and it's just an overall better router. Given the price difference not being so much, I would recommend, if you could, just go for the Archer AXE95 over the 5400. If you need help setting up this router, the Archer AXE5400 or the AXE95, not on this video, but on the next video, I'll show you step by step how to set everything up from beginning to end, how to log into the router, how to set up the settings so that your connection doesn't drop and stays stable and consistent. So right here, I'm in the menu settings for Virtual Desktop, and as you can see, I have everything set to the max cut light because I have a 4090 card, and I'm trying to run the game 11. That's one of my favorite games on the Quest, the table tennis game, a ping pong game. But if you notice, my bitrate is set to 83 megabits per second. I couldn't go over that for some reason, and I think it's set to the fact that I'm running this game on the 5 gigahertz network. When I connect to my 6 gigahertz, I'm easily able to go to the bitrate of 200 megabits per second. But when I am on the 5 gigahertz, even though I'm connected at the 2401 megabits per second, it shows that my bitrate max is 83. And I can't change it. It's set to that. There's no way for me to change it. And so, as you would see when I'm playing a game, the latency on there, sometimes as low as 41 all the way up to 70 sometimes. And because of the latency, it gets so bad. Motion sickness, I guess. As you can see right now, the latency is at 60. Frame rates drops, sometimes below 80. You can still play the game. It's just choppy and latency is really bad and I get motion sick. And it's just not a good experience playing this way. As you would see, once I switch over to the 6 gigahertz frequency on the same router, in the same room, same game, the only difference is I am playing on my 5 gigahertz frequency, the next gameplay, which would be on the 6. And so now here is the same game. As you can see now, my bitrate is automatically set to 200. And if I go to my settings, I can also do my desktop bitrate is 100. So I'm playing a godlike again, 80 frames, same game running again on the 6 gigahertz frequency. As you can see, 6 gigahertz right there. I'm at 200 megabits per second as my bitrate. And my max bitrate is 200, which is the limit Virtual Desktop gives you. And you can see my latency right now is at 53, but it feels smooth and solid. And keep in mind also, because I'm recording this on the same headset, that takes away a little bit of my latency as well. When I turned off the recording, that dropped an additional 5 to 7 drop. So I was hovering in the 30s actually once I turned the recording off on my 6 gigahertz, and the gameplay was just so much smoother. So as you can see right now, I'm at 41 latency, and I'm keeping my frame rate steady at 8. Bitrate is to 200. The gameplay, it's hard to tell. You looking at it, me playing it within the game, it feels so much different from what you see watching on the screen. It's hard to translate it into words, but it's just so much better. So when people tell you that you get a 5 gigahertz router, but it's not that as important, I want to say to get the best experience, it's almost a necessity to get a 6 gigahertz, 6E gigahertz router. So yeah, not just a Wi-Fi 6 router, but a 6E router to get you access to the 6 gigahertz spectrum. It makes that much of a difference in driving the latency down. It's just night and day difference in the performance of the game. The same game playing from the same location, and the latency is just so much better, and the gameplay is just so much smoother. So yes, I would say if your goal is to stream games from your PC to your headset, if you're gonna be playing most of your games, or at least a significant portion of your games, streaming it to the headset, I would absolutely suggest you get a Wi-Fi 6E router, because the difference it makes is very clear. Please leave comments and suggestions below. Please subscribe and like. Thank you very much.